What's up, guys? It is Gray, aka the Hokage, and we're back with my hero this time. Another series that is going to go on hiatus. It's just for much shorter than the Ruby. Oh god. Oh no, we got to fix this. Oh yeah, sorry, this has to happen. You guys know the rules if you've been here before. Can't show much of this because I'll get in trouble. Almost, as you can tell, I just recorded Ruby the other day. So, my hero. It actually looks like the arc is indeed winding down. Will I eat those words in a chapter? Probably. But for right now, it does actually seem like there is some resolution happening. And this crazy train ride of an arc looks to be like it might be over. Fingers crossed, because even I need some breathing room. And you're not fighting for a while and no one getting revealed, it's crazy, but I need a second, man. Oof, and this is pretty good. There's another thing we're going to talk about in the middle of this chapter, just some like continuity stuff that Hori actually tweeted out. So let's just get into it. It says, wake up. There's Deku here lying. Look at my man, seen some better days. He's like, oh, I blocked out, blah blah blah. Todoroki. Oh, there he is. He's fine. And then a lightning bolt. So that was theorized. I don't think I actually talked about it in any of my videos. But it was theorized that like the lightning bolt of... Oh, I'm covering up the user. This guy, the fourth user. That was when that happened, which is what we're seeing Deku right here. That the quirk was activating and then it was some kind of danger sense. And that's exactly right. So once again, the community proved that they know things. They really be knowing things. Also, apparently, Deku had knowledge about it beforehand. It just not revealed to the reader, because he saw it. It was in the book that All Might gave him. So there's a little bit of misconception that Deku didn't know about this quirk. Clearly, that's not true. I think what All Might hid from Deku wasn't what the quirk did. I think it was what the fourth user... Something about the fourth user, whether what he died to, what happened to him. I'm assuming it's a him. So that is what's hidden. Maybe the danger... Listen, Danger Sense is a dangerous quirk to have. Because the way it happens is it's kind of like... It's basically Spider Sense. It's basically Spider Sense. Which, another way Deku gets closer to Spider-Man. Soon he's going to be able to shoot webs. Well, he already does, but... No, he really already does. What other powers does Spider-Man have? What do we think? Sticking to walls? That'd be a lame quirk. Man, can you imagine a quirk where you just stick to walls? That'd be so dumb. It's Spinner. I'm making fun of Spinner. Nonetheless, we'll get to Spinner in a second. Trust me. Either way, we'll talk about that later. We'll just keep going through the chapter. Mirio's going after Mr. Compress, and Mr. Compress gets mollywopped. He's out of tools. His last thought, this man's last thought before he goes down, is he wanted to throw his disembodied buttocks in your general direction. My man was going to yeet his cheek at him. He was going to throw his cheek at Mirio. If that's not commendable, then I don't know what is. He also, excuse me. He also, as we can see here, he talks about he's trying to buy Spinner and Shigaraki time because he knows that there's a horde of Nomu close by. And Shigaraki control Nomu. So he was going to buy Spinner time to wake up Shigaraki because he's fading in and out of consciousness to try and get some Nomu to get them out of here. He's buying the time to do that. He also slipped in a marble with Dabi. Now this is where we're going to leave the chapter for a second. We're going to go to Hori's Twitter. First of all, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, follow Hori on Twitter. I'm at the Hokage and Makataka YT. It might just be the Hokage, but I'm on Twitter. It's in the description. We get a cute little sketch with the lead, and there's an arrow pointing to Skeptic. And he talks about, obviously it's translated by Google, so it's not like the most clear translation. But what it says is basically, Skeptic is also given to Spinner. It's going to be fixed in the, this says comics. It's going to be fixed in the volume, when the volume comes out. That'll be when it's fixed. So, just so you all know, if in case you didn't know this, Skeptic is indeed included in this. So... That way, next chapter, when we see Skeptic pop out, no one's confused. Cool. Figured it out. Great. Mirio tries to go for it. In the meantime, my man is trying his best. He's like, oh, I spotted that thing burning and squashed. Spinner the G. He finds the hand, Nana's hand, just disgusting, burned, like crushed, but like just gross. Puts it on his face. We can see some like weird stuff going on with the skin. A shockwave comes out. All the Nomu stop what they're doing. It blasts back a bunch of people, including like we get Bakugo, Ida, Nejiri, Genist, Mirio, and Compress. They all get blasted back. Oh, excuse me. Endeavor, Shoto. And then we hear a voice talk. It's all for one. Going through his like hardest power, and the more he like embraces, like Shigaraki's embracing his heart, the more consciousness takes hold. So All for One talks about what this is. Also, we get this really creepy picture of All for One's face on Shigaraki's head. Yikes. Gross. I hate this. He's like, make sure you hate me tomorrow because we're doing a symbolic relationship. Emphasis on symbolic. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. The radio waves can use this, radio waves can be used as signals. There we go. It literally says right there. I can't read. For the Nomu to come and pick them up. And then he's like, and then Spinner, jeez. Spinner is like, hey, what about Compress, Makia, Toga's out there too? And he's like, enough Iguchi. His name's Iguchi. That's Mr. Spinner's real name, I suppose. Tamura has lost to All for One Endeavor. And he's like, and for that, he's going to pay for the loss for my sake. And the Nomus grab him and run away. They scream Dobby's with them too, so they all try and stop it. It doesn't matter. They leave. Midoriya tries. My man gets back up for like the 80th time in the universe. Once again tries the Froppy technique with the Black Whip. He luckily All for One is in control, so he's blasting back with the air push. It shatters his hand, but he's already like messed up. So, and then we get some inner monologue from Deku, and he's like, in that moment, it looked like you wanted to be saved. When Shigaraki was getting taken over. And that's another thing that sparks some interesting debate in the community. And that's when the chapter ends. So next chapter is January 3rd. This was the last chapter of 2020. Let's break it down. So, quirk. Danger Sense. This is a really, really good quirk for Deku to have and a really bad quirk for Deku to have. Obvious good things. He knows when to save people. He can save people easier. He can sense some incoming attacks potentially. We don't really know the extent of this quirk. I'm going to assume maxed out it will perform like Spider Sense, where he can sense things coming at him. Ultra Instinct, if you will, if you're more of an anime guy, not a comic guy. A minor Ultra Instinct. So really, really powerful quirk. However, Deku has been seen word for word basically saying that he wants to save everybody. Danger Sense is basically going to make it to where he's going to know all the bad stuff happening around him. He's going to see all the situations that people need help, and he simply can't save them all. It's not possible. It's just not possible to save everybody, which is an ongoing theme in Deku's struggle and the fact that there are people that you can't save. And this quirk, people have theorized that this quirk will be driving him crazy for a really long time because it will be tearing him up inside. And that's true. So I think that's great. Is the music really quiet for anyone else? It feels really quiet. Hold on. We're just gonna bump it up a little bit. There we go. I don't want like you guys to hear everything, like, but I do want, you know, whatever. What was I talking about? Quirk, right? Danger Sense, really good. I'm interested to see how it evolves. Will that be the last quirk we see this arc? What do we got? Float. Well, we already had Black Whip, so we got Float and Danger Sense. I believe those are the only two. This is another quirk that I don't know about, or I don't remember, and I'm brain farting. 2 quirks. We are at 4 of the 7. We're almost there. I think we're at 4. Danger Sense, Black Whip, Float. All one for all. That's 4, right? Right? Either way, not really important. So another thing I do want to talk about is this group, the villains that we're going to have that aren't going to be taken in. So let's assume for a second that the fight is really over. That means that our antagonist team is going to consist of Shigaraki, Spinner, Dobby, and Skeptic, which is a really interesting group to have, I think, because first of all, we still do not have a reaction from Shigaraki about twice. We still haven't got that, and I think we will get that at some point. I think it's going to be, because it's shown, All For One even says that Shigaraki cares. He says that. He's like, you're like, you have a heart for like, blah, 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 for the people, like the league. And he's going to care about that. Is Dabi, like, are we going to get some characterization from Dabi because he's only there really for his own goals? So is that going to come to light? Or is Dabi going to like actually start caring about the league himself? Spinner already shows to care for everyone. And is he going to try and get Toga before the other guy, like the police do? And Skeptic, we don't really have a lot on Skeptic besides that is like one thing that he did. So we're going to get some characterization for Skeptic probably. And I'm going to talk a little bit more on that in the prediction section. So the whole controlling with All For One, a couple people, a few, I'm not going to say everybody because I certainly don't care too much about this, but a lot of people have been like, this is the third time that All For One has stepped in for Shigaraki to save him, so they don't take him seriously anymore. Shigaraki got almost won without any quirks. He almost beat the number one hero in Friends without any quirks outside of the strength enhancing ones. If Shigaraki had quirks, I think it's common knowledge that Shigaraki would have killed everyone there, which is pretty freaking impressive if you ask me. This and the way that he talks about this being a symbolic relationship, symbiotic, sorry, not symbolic, that's not the right word. Symbiotic relationship is interesting because it kind of shows that maybe he didn't actually, it wasn't going to groom Shigaraki to be his vessel, but they really were going to share this body the whole time. That seems to be his plan. They were going to share it, which is interesting because Shigaraki clearly hates it. And I wonder, and people have been like, maybe it's as direct as every time he puts on the hand, All For One will take over. And if that's the case, that would be kind of cool, just to see like a very visual, like, okay, well, obviously like the visual of the fact that his freaking skin is covering his eyes, but the hand would be a very like, okay, I need All For One's help now. The hand goes on the face like this. I don't really have like a huge thought on that. Hopefully he doesn't do it too much more because I do agree it's kind of a cop out. I want to see Shigaraki be a threat on his own, which I really, truly believe that we got, by the way. But I do want to keep seeing Shigaraki evolve without All For One. Because I really, really like Shigaraki now. And I want to see him grow as a character. And I like Spinner, too. He's like talking, he's going to pay for it. They're trying to get it. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about before we get to predictions, because there's a lot to do here. Deku says that you look like he needs saving. People need to know that, like, there's a lot of lines between saving and redemption. I do not think this is building that Shigaraki is going to get redemption in any way, shape, or form, or even not be a villain anymore. That's not the case. That's not what Deku's saying. You can save someone from something specific that isn't all he wants to do is save Shigaraki from being All For One's puppet. Right? That's it. He's still going to bring it. Theoretically, in Deku's perfect world, I imagine he stops him being controlled. Shigaraki's like, oh, I'm not controlled anymore. And Deku's like, great, you're going to jail. That's probably Deku's dream, right? That's what happens in the idealistic situation. What I think is really going to happen, don't know. But just so you all know, I do not think this is the author hinting in any way, shape, or form that Shigaraki is going to be redeemed in any way. I think he might be saved and at least understood, because you have to admit, Shigaraki isn't... Someone was like, Shigaraki's not evil. Shigaraki's pretty evil. But he is also a victim. You have to understand. He is definitely also a victim of circumstance, for sure. He was almost... If the theory is true, that All For One did indeed give Shigaraki his quirk, he was basically set up to be a monster. Like, from the get-go. So, I don't want to say not his fault, but like... I do think he should get some leeway there, if it's ever brought up. However, I don't think it excuses his actions, but Shigaraki is also a victim here. So let's just not, that's what I'm saying. I think he deserves to face judgment, but I also think that they're not the only ones like dealing with stuff. The heroes, I mean. So let's get to predictions, because oh boy. So, I think that this is definitely pretty clearly setting up for, at least soon, a prison break arc. Because obviously Giant Tamaki is getting taken in. Compress I don't know if Compress is going to make it. I want him to. Let's just pretend that for a second Compress does make it, because it doesn't really add or take away if he does. Mr. Compress also goes to prison. Who else was there? Am I forgetting a league member, or is it just like, are they like that low now? Well, that's why I think Toga's probably going to get captured too. I mean, Toga's pretty good at hiding out, so if she really wanted to, I bet she could hide, but she probably didn't expect it to lose so bad. So if Toga gets caught, wouldn't surprise me. And then they have like a real personal. Plus, they also have Kurogiri, who's still in jail. And All for One. All for One. Now, for a second, I think before, obviously, I think we're going to start. My prediction is the next couple chapters are going to be aftermath stuff. I think we're going to see the outcome of the Mansion team. Who won, who lost. I think the villains will probably lose that one just because that gives them even more incentive to go to Tartarus to break them all out. But maybe not. You never know. I'm really bummed that if it gets off screen, the Edge Shot versus what's his name? Redestro, because they're both pretty cool and powerful, and I want to see that go down. There's a list we need to know, like, is Midnight okay? What happened to the rest of Class 1A? What happened to the rest of the Class 1A that wasn't in that team? Right? Like, there was a lot of them that were still in the Mansion raid, you know, like Hawks. Like, there's so, like, it's just so much. Getting, like what happened to all those characters? That's probably going to be the next couple chapters. If they get captured, it wouldn't surprise me, because even more incentive for Tartarus. But if not, I think the Tartarus thing is going to happen. I've been saying it for almost a year now. The Tartarus thing is going to happen. I'm positive. We're definitely moving in that direction now more than ever. And that's also where I think that Shigaraki might dust All for One, and I'm rooting for it now. I think it's going to be a great moment. Now, the real question is, with that line from Deku about saving, is this going to be like a Return of the Jedi situation where, because you know Hori loves Star Wars, is it going to be a situation where Deku and Shigaraki work together to beat All for One and then like turn back enemies? That'd be pretty cool. I think Deku would be like, let's take him in. Like, all right, we beat him, good job. And Shigaraki's like, nah, I ain't done, and he kills him. I definitely 100% do think that they're setting up for Shigaraki to kill All for One. I think that's going to happen. Like, I'm almost positive that's going to happen. And honestly, I'm psyched for it, because I think it's going to be sweet. Either way. Man, we talk a lot these past couple days, don't we? The last chapter of 2020. A crazy year 2020's been, huh? Just a crazy, crazy year. Now, is it a crazy year for My Hero? Yes, but in a good way. 2020 has been some of the most crazy hype My Hero has ever been. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that the 2020 has been a banger of a year for My Hero, for sure. And here's to the next one. Either way, guys, that's going to do it for me. Now that all my series are on hiatus, I got to get back on that Bleach grind. That's right. I'm going to come back. I'm going to try and knock out videos couple times a week until we catch up. I don't even want to look at how many months it's been, because it's going to be a lot of weeks I'm going to have to go up for. But I am really going to try, I promise. And I'll see all of you next time. So thank you all so much for watching. Peace, and I will see you next year.